Good evening, SportsZonians. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I am Mike Aglioloro. I am your host for this is Sports Zone. Coming to you live like we do each and every week here via the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Radio Network. We got a good show for you tonight. We're going to be joined by Dave Hastings and hopefully a returning Erich in a matter of moments here. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Probably got some baseball to talk about. Probably wind up talking about the NCAA championship game last night in basketball. Virginia beating Texas Tech in the national championship game. May wind up talking about that. I got a little football to talk about. Last week of basketball season, so we'll wind up getting into all that too. While we wait for Erich and Dave, the one thing I'd like to start with tonight is, we don't talk politics on this show. That is not going to change. But baseball had come to an agreement with the Cuban Baseball Federation, where it opened up the ability for Cuban players to come and play baseball in the major leagues without having to defect, like many players have done over the last 20 years, from Livan Hernandez to El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, Yoenis Cespedes, Yasviel Puig, and a whole host of others like Jose Abreu. And it was often a very dangerous and very arduous process by which they defected to this country. And the agreement that baseball had made with the Cuban Baseball Federation was thought to end that. And yesterday, the Trump administration rejected that agreement. And for the time being, as a result of that, the pre-existing state of affairs is going to continue to govern any player that seeks to join Major League Baseball. So I'm really not happy about that, because this was going to wind up being a better, safer way to do it. And obviously, if you know anything about the route that a lot of the Latin American ball players wind up taking to get to this country and playing baseball, there's a lot of human trafficking, a lot of players who wind up getting taken advantage of financially by a lot of the middlemen involved. And this would have been a better, safer alternative to that. And now you kind of go back to the old way of doing things. And it's not great for baseball. And I know, just to read a little bit of the article here, the new arrangement was designed with the same essential framework of Major League Baseball's agreements with baseball leagues in Japan and Korea, with a percentage of the player's contract to be paid as a release fee. In this case, though, the dollars were destined not for a foreign baseball club, but for Cuba's government-run governing body, the aforementioned Cuban Baseball Federation. In negotiating an agreement involving a Cuban governmental entity, Major League Baseball had been relying upon an interpretation of the Cuban Assets Control Regulations issued by the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. This was from late in Barack Obama's presidency, that it was permitted to make such payments despite the broad Cuban embargo. So basically, the Trump administration wound up on doing a lot of that. And now you still have the process where Cuban players have to defect rather than just being able to come like the Cuban and Korea players do. But with that, we're going to bring Dave Hastings on. Dave, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So I was talking about this. I don't know if you had heard about this. I started off with baseball a little bit here. How familiar are you with the idea of, Cuban and Latin American players, when they come to the country to play baseball, they have to defect? Have you heard anything about that over the last 20 plus years?
No, I can't actually say I have.
Well, it's a very dangerous process, and anytime you hear players like Livan Hernandez or El Duque or Yoenis Cespedes or any of these guys who had to defect, the stories they tell about having to cross the ocean basically to get to Florida and then to get their family safe and all these different things. It's never a fun story. So one thing that had happened last year, and it was because of some of the changes Obama had made in the country's relationship with Cuba, they had come to an agreement with the Cuban Baseball Federation. So these players could come here in much the same way that the Korean baseball players and the Chinese and the Japanese baseball players wanted to do it. Yesterday, the Trump administration wound up on doing a lot of that. And as a result, you still have that process of defecting that is in rather than them just being able to come over and play. And
Well,
I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
Well, I mean, to avoid talking political, I mean, on the sports side of thing, that just really kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, you have players that make the game of the game of baseball better, and you're saying that you can't let them play due to the fact that they're from Cuba.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's up, Fife, man? We got Fife in the chat room. I see him. What's up, Fife? I know you're listening. I see you.
I was going to save him for a little later because I do see him in there too, and he's putting on Facebook that he's a little confused. Okay, so now he's in, and we could bring him on if he wanted to come on the show. I don't know that he wants to. I don't know if he wants to just sit back and listen for a little while. But yes, welcome to Fife, who I've started tagging in the Facebook post since Erich's wedding. Because after you left there at Eric's wedding, me and Fife had like a 20-minute conversation. It was great. Fife's a great guy. You there?
Well, he's still muted, but he's got the chat going.
Well, Fife, you want to come? I'll tell you what.
Nah, I love Fife.
I'm going to make the decision.
If Fife can talk hockey, that's the best part. You got playoff hockey coming. Mm-hmm. I know Fife is excited for that.
Yeah. I am unable to unmute Fife right now. So I don't know if that's something on his end, but if Fife wants to come on, he's just got to figure out a way to get his mic working and he can come on.
Oh, no, he's listening. He's watching Mission Impossible.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, cool.
Well, shout out to Papa Fife.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So I am hoping Erich Tressler comes back tonight, makes his triumphant return. I have yet to talk to him today, though, so I don't know. Do you have anything that stuck out for you this week?
Honestly, I mean, I've been kind of caught up with Dwayne Wade's final home game. I don't know if you saw the Budweiser commercial, but that was almost a straight tearjerker. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, you got to watch him his whole career and get to appreciate him and, what he was able to do with Shaq and the performance he put up in that 06 finals, being man enough to step aside and let LeBron come to Miami. Not let LeBron, but really when it comes down to letting LeBron do anything was being the leader of the team and kind of taking that, sidekick role.
Dave, I'm gonna apologize. We have some breaking news right now. ESPN is reporting that Magic Johnson is stepping down as Lakers president of basketball operations. This is after only one season being in charge of the Lakers. He, of course, appointed general manager Robert Pelinka, and he's only led one off season, and it seemed like everything was building to this coming off season to try to get two max players in. So this is really big news. But if you followed Magic Johnson in any step of his post-playing career, this is not a huge shock. Because I remember in the late 90s, he tried to come back in 96, ended his comeback after a month, was head coach of the Lakers for the last month of the season. Then he stepped down. Was he going to come back and play when Shaq came in? Was he not? This isn't the first time he's done something like this, but it's a bit surprising that he steps down before this offseason. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, initial thoughts are really more surprised. I mean, I am surprised. I get the track record that he has, but like you said, with the impending off season you have coming up and the possibilities of the different free agents you could possibly sign to pair up with LeBron, the potential trade for Anthony Davis. I mean, the list goes kind of on and on and on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you really never know if it's a letting him go. And since it's Magic Johnson and the respect level that organization has for him, they gave him the ability to just go with the stepping down option.
Mm-hmm.
You also don't know, maybe it's health related. I mean, we all, if you follow basketball at all, we all know that, he's been in a battle with HIV for, almost 30 years now.
Yeah, basically. I have a little bit of information here via hoopsrumors.com. They're basically, if you don't know them, they're basically a hub that collects articles from a lot of different sources. They have a Twitter link from Bill Oram of The Athletic and Adrian Wojciechowski from ESPN. Oram has a report that suggested that Johnson has been viewed as an absentee executive. And according to Wojciechowski, Johnson never fully committed to the job and had limited office hours during his tenure. He was traveling and away from the team frequently and didn't do much scouting, which if you look at the way they put together the team last year, I can kind of buy that.
Yeah, that definitely sounds believable. That's for sure. I mean, at the same time, I love Magic Johnson, so it's hard to badmouth the guy. But, I mean, I don't find that hard to believe at all. And especially Wojciechowski is maybe one of the most respected NBA reporters in the entire, NBA. So if he's coming out with statements like that, it's hard not to believe him.
Yep. Yeah. And, I mean, like you said, Magic Johnson is one of the most revered people in all of basketball history. I mean, what he does as an executive doesn't take away how you think of him as a player, but you can be a great player and just be a crappy executive. I mean, Michael Jordan's Hornets have definitely been a lot better over the last 5 or 6 years, but look at the way Jordan's ownership of the Hornets really started. I mean, for 10 years, they were one of the worst teams in the league. And he was kind of thought of as the same way, just employing a lot of people that he knew from his playing career. He's gotten better in terms of the people he puts around them now. But it definitely took him a while to figure things out. So,
well, yeah, I mean, he chose to draft Kwame Brown. So
chose to draft Kwame Brown. That was with the Wizards. And then you look at what he did with the Hornets when they were the Bobcats, drafting, Adam Morrison, Raymond Felton and Sean May in the same draft just because they were North Carolina guys. And you could probably go through the list. Now I'm thinking of Morrison. There are probably others that I'm thinking of that he just completely whiffed on in the draft with all those high picks. So, yeah, like I said, it definitely took him a while to kind of get his groove. And I guess it was just a question of whether or not Johnson wanted to put in the same time to really become that experience of a front office guy. So.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. So no matter what, you'll see Magic Johnson again doing something.
Yeah. Now here's the question: with him out, does this increase the odds that Luke Walton comes back as head coach for the Lakers next year?
I don't think so. I don't think that Walton's shown enough that he's deserved the opportunity to come back and coach them again.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he's done it, and I don't think he's going to get that opportunity.
Well, I hope he gets that opportunity to come back next year because I feel like a lot of what led to the Lakers' downfall and his poor performance this year was the off-court stuff that I don't really think Johnson helped him with at all. And I think a lot of the presence of Johnson and the people he brought in, and yes, I'm talking about LeBron James because once Magic brings in LeBron James, you basically saying you have no faith in the coach right off the bat, and Walton did nothing to lose that faith. If you look at his first season with the Lakers, and I definitely feel like he deserves a chance with a front office that actually has his back and is willing to go to bat for him. I would like to see him one more year.
I mean, the only thing I can't agree with you with what you said is about them bringing in LeBron being a slight on Luke Walton.
Well, okay, I might have worded that wrong. It wasn't necessarily a slight on Luke Walton, but when you bring in a guy like LeBron, I mean, you know LeBron's track record with head coaches. Unless you're going to come out and have a meeting between the two where you tell LeBron this is Walton's team, and you kind of got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Unless you're doing that, you're putting pressure on Walton where he almost has to concede to him.
Yeah, but LeBron has every option in the league, so it's not like he can walk in the door and just say, hey, get rid of this guy.
Well, I mean, he has done that in the past, if you believe the rumors. So
I'm just saying, I don't see it like he's saying I'm going to pick LA because I just want to play in LA, but after a year, I'm going to make sure that we get rid of Luke Walton.
Well, we're going to bring someone else on because here he is making his triumphant return. Erich Tressler is back from his honeymoon. Erich Tressler is here tonight. Erich Tressler, how you doing, brother?
I'm better than Luke Walton.
Are you better than Magic Johnson, though, is the question. Have you heard about this? Magic Johnson just stepped down as Lakers president of basketball operations.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, he didn't come in. He came in with more hype than he's leaving with. I mean, he was like bringing Phil Jackson to New York. I don't know if anybody else can make that comparison, but I'm going to. Except they paid Magic less, probably. You know what I mean? Phil was supposed to come in and be able to attract superstars, and, you know, everybody wanted to come and be under Phil. Nobody gave a shit. Today's NBA. Same with Magic Johnson. Magic, I'm going to come here. LeBron's coming here. We're recruiting everybody. Everybody's going to want to be. It's showtime again. And then didn't quite work out the way he had hoped either. So, I mean, I don't think these guys are speak to today's NBA player in the same way, and it doesn't surprise me. And, I mean, listen, I hope Luke Walton stays there as coach. I think he's a good young coach. I think he's going to, do well in the league. But I don't know. It doesn't surprise me to hear about Magic, though.
Well, I'll tell you this, because I think the one difference between Phil Jackson and Magic Johnson, Phil had 3 years basically. Magic leaves after the first year, and everything on the hype train, as you kind of alluded to over there, was about this year's free agent class and about whether or not he can land another max free agent. And, I said the same thing you did. I'm not totally shocked by it, but you would have thought that he would have at least waited till this offseason to see if he could fulfill that prophecy, really. What do you say?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. Well, yeah, why? What is this offseason going to do? Even if they get – yeah, it's hard to attract somebody with LeBron because, again, LeBron's not necessarily coach or GM friendly. He wants to run the show there. And, it was going to be his way or the highway. And
we lost Erich. Hopefully he comes back. Dave, you got any response to what Erich was saying there?
Well, I mean, bottom line is it really is LeBron trying to run the show. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about that, to say the least. And it's not how it was where LeBron, Wade, and Bosh were best friends and they put that team together. Like, I don't know if LeBron has that relationship with many other guys that are still prominent players in the league. And I think that makes it harder for you to be able to just draw the talent you want to draw back to the Lakers.
But with that, he's back. Erich, you all right?
yeah, no, I'm good. I must have been just going through a bad area. I'm on my way somewhere. So I just must have ran through a bad area.
All right, that's fine. You want to finish what you were saying?
I mean, I pretty much said it. I just think that I didn't have a problem with it, and I think he writing was on the wall. It was eventually going to happen. They don't speak to today's players the same way, even though people may look at them as greats. I mean, you saw that. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen the athletic poll that came out and all the different stats. And I mean, what today's NBA players really think. I mean, most think Jordan was the greatest, then Kobe, and I mean, Magic really wasn't even mentioned in that list anymore. You know what I mean? It's a different day and age, and players are thinking differently. And I don't know. I think the Lakers and everybody else were. I think even Magic, he was smart to get out after the first year. Phil just wasted time because he was getting paid $60 million. I just don't think it was worth Magic's time anymore. He can make a lot more money doing other things. Probably be a lot happier too.
All right, that's fair. Here's my question, because with everything going on, this will be the last thing we say about this, and then we can move on. Does anybody think Kyrie Irving goes back to being on LeBron's team and goes back to the Lakers this offseason?
No.
No? Eric?
No, I don't know. I mean, I hope this isn't just me hyping up Nick fandom in myself, but I don't know, with that athletic poll coming out saying 63% of the players are thinking KD's going to New York. Kyrie goes and somehow they get that first pick. They could turn that city around real fast. So I don't know.
I'm going to be honest. I think I said this earlier in the season. I kind of don't want Kyrie Irving on the Knicks. I'm not enamored with him at all. If they got Kemba Walker to go with Kevin Durant, and then they get one of the top draft picks or whatever, I'd be fine with that, truthfully.
No. Kemba's a scorer, but that's it. No Kemba.
Yeah, but he can actually stay on the court for 80 games plus the playoffs. Irving hasn't shown any sort of durability, in my opinion.
No, but he did come up clutch for him, though. They don't win that championship without him.
I agree with that, but, I mean, how many postseasons has he actually stayed healthy for besides that? That's like the only one that he was totally healthy for the entire postseason. I'm saying, I would take Kemba Walker. You give me him and Durant and whoever they get in the draft, plus the young players that the Knicks have kind of accumulated. I don't think that's that much of a drop-off.
It is. Kemba to Kyrie's a drop-off. Dave, I want your opinion on this. Kemba to Kyrie. I think it's a drop-off from Kyrie to Kemba.
I personally think it's a pretty big drop-off.
Oh.
I mean, Mike, I will not argue with the durability issue of Kyrie Irving, but if you're telling me I got to pick one player to play in a game or an 82-game season or make a playoff run, and I get to pick one of them, I'm going to go with Kyrie.
Listen, it's not one of those situations where if we get him, I'm going to be like, oh, this is a shitty move. If the Knicks get him, I'll hold my tongue. But I don't know, between the durability issue and all the bull crap that comes with him off the court, I would take Kemba, but apparently that's just me, and I am fine with that. That's okay. Let's move on, though. Eric, we haven't heard you talk any college basketball in a few weeks. You had the national championship game last night, Virginia and Texas Tech. Virginia goes from being ousted, the first #1 seed, to lose to a 16 seed last year, to national champions this year. What are your thoughts?
Nice redemption story. They played hard. I think the way they got there was a little lucky, but, hey, sometimes you need a little luck. They got real unlucky last year, losing to a 16, so they were kind of due this year. But I watched most of the game last night. They fought. The kid last night passing up on that easy 2 to kick out for the 3 at the end was clutch. The kid burying the shot was even more clutch. And I don't know. I think it was well deserved and definitely a solid basketball team. So my hats go off to Virginia.
Dave, what do you say?
I mean, I watched the majority of the game. It was a really good game. I mean, the run Texas Tech went on at the end of regulation to force overtime was nothing short of very impressive. I was pulling for Texas Tech personally because their story of the fact that if they won, they would have been only the second team ever in NCAA history to beat two 2 seeds and 2 1 seeds on their way to a national championship. So I thought that would have been a cool story. Meanwhile, Virginia winning means they're literally only the second national champion to ever win a national championship without having to beat another number 1 or number 2 seed. So, I mean, I kind of feel like that takes away from it just a little bit, but that's being nitpicky, and I understand that. But it does take away from it, for me, a little bit. They got away with the double dribble in the Final Four game. There's no other way to say it. I think the 3-point foul that they called was a good call, so I don't think they got lucky.
No, that's right. I'm going to disagree with everybody in America. I don't care what you say. It was not a foul. That is as ticky-tack as it gets, and in that big moment, you don't call that foul. I am sorry. I will say it. I will live with it.
Straight up, Eric. He can't jump towards the guy.
Listen, you see the still shot of it. He's not, that's not a foul. His arms are bent backwards, for God's sake. It's not like he's into him. He barely brushed him with the body. It is not a foul. Humped his leg. I'm sorry. I'm not calling that in that moment. I'm not calling it. That is ticky-tack. That is Bush League. That is something that if you called it on the basketball court down at the park, you'd get laughed off the court calling it.
Well, I won't argue with that if you're calling it in the street ball game, but in an actual game, you got to call that foul. That's a foul.
You don't have to call that foul. You let them play.
No, you got to call the double dribble. And then that foul
doesn't even
matter because they don't have the ball.
Well, I agree with you there. They blew that call. In my opinion, they blew both calls.
See, and
then last night I think they got it right where it went off. Virginia should have got the ball back last night. I think.
Well, I almost don't want to stop this because that was a lot of fun to listen to. But anyway, all right. So we got Virginia National Champion. Here's one question I wanted to ask Erich. So I don't know how much of the tournament you wound up seeing given the last couple weeks for you. What player do you think increased his draft stock the most based on the tournament?
Well, I think John Morant. I mean, he personally, I think, has went from a top 5 pick to now pretty much the consensus number 2 pick behind Zion. So I think he was really the one that solidified his spot. I don't know if you would have called it boosting because maybe he would have got taken second anyway, but I think now it's just a given. Whoever gets that spot, there's no way you're giving up on Zion at number 1. I don't care who gets the number 1 spot. And number 2, and everybody's going John Morant. You got to take the talent. I mean, the NBA is a talent-driven league, and you can't pass up on guys that seem that special. So, but I think he was the guy who solidified his spot the most.
Okay. Anybody else? Because Morant, by the end of the first week, everybody was talking about him as the number 2 pick. I didn't even know who he was before that, so I definitely hear you on that. Anybody else?
Maybe the kid Hunter last night might have bumped his draft stock up. He played pretty well, so I would probably go with him because he did it on the biggest stage on a national, field. I think he might have boosted himself up in the rankings as well.
All right. Anybody decrease their draft stock?
I think Cam Reddish is falling fast. I think someone's going to get a talented player, but, I mean, you were looking at he was a top 5 probably before the NCAA tournament started, and that was even after a bad year at Duke where he really didn't shine like Zion and Barrett did. And now, I mean, the way you haven't heard anything. He barely had a tournament. He in my opinion, I think he might have hurt his stock the worst. But even though I still think he's a top 10.
Okay. They got that. Dave, any other names you'd like to throw in?
I mean, honestly, the kid off of Texas Tech, he had a bad shooting night last night. I can't remember his name now.
Francis?
Was it Francis? I believe
Maybe.
so.
All right. Fair enough there. All right. Anything else you guys would like to throw in here before we move on?
Nah, I mean, tournament was great as always, and I lost money this year, but last year I won some money. So, we're going to keep on moving.
Yeah, very nice. Eric?
No, I'm good. I mean, happy I at least got to watch the championship game, and yeah.
All right. Well, Eric, I tell you what, you haven't been here in a couple weeks. I will give you the floor. Anything that stuck out to you since the last time you were here, you would like to bring up?
Stuck out. I mean, I'll tell you what. In the midst of all Antonio Brown's nonsense and calling everybody out and Juju Schuster and all that nonsense, I gotta tell you, I don't know if you saw between Le'Veon Bell and James Conner having each other's backs. I thought that was pretty cool. It stuck out to me. I actually saw it earlier today. Baseball-wise, still too early in the season. The Yankees have a lot of injuries. That's sticking out to me right now. And the Masters is coming up. I don't know how you guys feel about the Masters, but, I'm ready to hopefully watch Tiger roar and have a good weekend. So we'll see what happens. I don't think that's this weekend, though. It's the following weekend. But I don't know if you guys are getting ready for the Masters.
No, Eric, the final round of the Masters is this Sunday, expected to wrap up somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock, and then your season premiere of Game of Thrones starts at 9. That would be this Sunday,
wow.
my friend. It's
I knew it was coming
great
up.
Day. Great day.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Mike,
Huh?
Well, you can't wait for the Masters winner? Who do you think's going to win?
Well, I was going to say Game of Thrones, but I may wind up watching the Masters on Sunday, depending on if I'm working or not, just to try to keep up with you guys. I don't know, though. I mean, I remember when I was in college, the question every year surrounding the Masters was Tiger Woods or the field. I don't know if it's the same question this year, but I don't know enough about golf to really be able to predict who I think is going to win. I know anytime you predict someone for the Masters anyway, it always winds up being someone you've never heard of anyway. So.
Yeah, I think the Masters this year is a hard one to call. But I will say when it comes down to it, I'm rooting for Tiger to be in the conversation on Sunday. And that's really, to me, that's what golf as a whole is actually really rooting for.
Well, let me ask you then. We'll play a different game rather than pick a winner. Over or under 10th place finish for Tiger Woods?
I apologize for the background
being
noise.
a higher finish, correct?
Yeah, meaning an over would be like a 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, first place finish. An under would be,
Yep, 10 and beyond. I got you. All right, you know what? I'm gonna take the over. I'm just feeling. I think Tiger's got something this year.
Eric, I'm going to apologize. I didn't hear your question because I had noise coming from my computer very quickly because I clicked on a page to see that Le'Veon Bell James Conner story, and all of a sudden music started playing. But anyway, what was your question again?
Oh, I said over or under a 10th place finish for Tiger Woods.
I can see under on that one. I think he's been playing better than last year. So,
wait. So no. Over meaning that he finishes better than 10th.
Oh, okay.
He finishes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or ninth, maybe even 10th. 10th is a push.
Yeah.
I think under that is a loss. So yeah. So that's what I meant by over under 10th place.
Excuse me. Yes. No. I go over then. I can see him finishing in the top 10. I can see that. Yeah. All right. Dave, I actually thought of you a little bit this weekend because I know Eric brought up baseball real quick, but to talk about something that we were talking about from last week, did you see? I'm sure you probably didn't. Did you hear anything about the Met game from Sunday?
Nope.
Okay. So the Mets were down 12-1 at one point, and they had given up 12 walks in that game. The majority of those 12 runs were scored off of walks. And that just made me think of you from our conversation from last week.
No, good. Yep. Yeah, walks, extending innings. You're correct. I got you.
Yeah.
Well, look, I got to get going, but really quick, I just got to throw this out there. If you guys have not seen the Budweiser commercial for Dwayne Wade, I retweeted it, so it's on my Twitter page. But I'm telling you, if you guys are anything close to a guy that appreciates Dwayne Wade and his career, you have to watch that commercial. But I really got to get going. I got to eat dinner and get my ass to bed. So I just got to make sure I throw that out. Eric, I hope you had a great honeymoon. I saw the pictures. I really wish, not that I was there exactly bothering you guys, but I wouldn't have mind being there. So just, I'm glad you had a great honeymoon, man. I'm glad you guys made it safe and sound, and I hope you guys are getting settled and, nice and comfy and happy in the new house.
Yeah. Once we get settled in, we'll have a little housewarming party. I'll let you guys know.
Sounds good, but I'm gonna get out of here, gentlemen. So have a great rest of the show. Fife, thanks for tuning in, brother. Shout out to Papa Fife one more time, and everybody, you have a great night.
All right, Dave. Thanks a lot. Dave Hastings, everybody. We will see you next week. All right. Eric, I know you got to get going a little bit too, but let's talk baseball for just a couple minutes. I know it's way too early to really say the Yankees are doing good or bad, or say the Mets are doing good or anything like that. You guys get hit with a lot of injuries in the season. You got Stanton down, you got Andujar down, Tulowitzki down, which isn't really a surprise. Are you worried that the injuries are going to catch up to the Yankees this season?
I worry if these guys don't come back, but for right now, I think we're okay. They have the depth. They have, Frazier playing. They got, it just means more time in the field for LeMahieu. We'll see what happens. I know said they were going to have some more news on Severino tonight.
It's not looking good with Severino. That news is he's got a strained lat muscle that may wind up not coming back until the second half of the season.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. They said by the end of the game tonight. I don't know. Maybe you're reading the news that already broke. I don't know. But I was going to wait and see what the doctor said tonight. And then from there, I mean, like I said, as long as, Andujar's supposed to throw tomorrow. If they can get some guys back, I think they'll be just fine. If they end up being season-ending injuries, like maybe Andujar's could be and some other guys could be, I still think with a guy like Keuchel out there, you give him $20 million a year, sign him for a year, maybe two. Try to get him on a player-friendly contract right now since he's not signed yet, and at least shore up another arm.
Well, apparently the news with Keuchel is he would take a one-year deal for a little bit more than the qualifying offer he took. That he rejected of $17.9 million. So that'd be interesting. I know the Mets are still keeping tabs on him, even though I think we both agree it's unlikely that he signs with the Mets. So there's that. It's going to be interesting to see how the Yankees handle the injuries, though. I mean, they do have some depth, but I think in terms of the infield, replacing Andujar, if he's not able to come back, and I really find it hard to believe that he's going to be able to come back with the type of injury that he has just off of rehab. So you have that. It'll be interesting to see how the depth holds up with them. I know Jermaine Herman's been doing good in the rotation. So you guys got that going for you. But I'll say one thing real quick about the Mets, and then we can get out of here because we only got a couple minutes left anyway. And I have to do an overnight tonight myself. So I'm not going to be staying out too much longer here. I'm happy with the way the Mets have started out. Even in that loss on Sunday, they're battling pretty good. I mean, in years past, they're down 12-1 early in the game. They would stay down 12-1. The fact that they were able to score 8 runs to close out the game, that was a nice sign for me. They're losing tonight, though, so there's that. The one thing you said a couple weeks ago that I've kind of been hanging on, you say it's going to be a 3-team race in the NL East, and I think what we've seen from at least the early going into the season, I think it's going to be a 4-team race for that NL East. I think the Mets are going to battle them into September. I don't know if they'll actually take the division, but I think this Mets team is much improved off of last year. and can at the very least hang with the Nationals, Phillies, and Braves. What do you say?
We'll see. Time will tell. I don't think they have the bats to do it all season, so we'll see.
Well, the one thing they got going for them right now is the bats, because the bullpen hasn't been too good, and the starting pitching behind DeGrom and Syndergaard still has yet to get going. But the offense has looked a lot better than it has in years past. So
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it lasts.
yeah, we will see on that one. So last thing, then we'll get out of here, because Fife is bringing this up in the chat room. What did you think about the Craig Carton verdict? He's going to jail for about 3.5 years. He was on the Michael Kay show yesterday. What do you think about that?
I listened to the interview. I have no more sympathy now than I had for him then. I tried to blame it all on his gambling and whatever, his addiction. I don't buy it as much. He didn't sound very sympathetic to me.
He never sounds very
sincere. You know, and I agree with what a caller called it and said afterwards, and that's he got 42 months. He'll never do it. He'll do 24 because he's a non-violent offender. He's a non-violent criminal. And as long as he keeps his nose clean, he blames it on his gambling and I'm not sure what happened with the sexual assault and whatever.
Yeah, I found that very difficult to buy, because that just seemingly came out of nowhere, him saying that.
So, but I agree with what the caller said. He's going to use all of that to help himself get a little leniency at the first crack of getting out of there. He'll probably only do about 24 months. It was $4.8 million. Who knows how much of that is actually paid and how much he'll ever actually be able to pay off? Because, I mean, unless he gets another gig on the radio or, you know, he's got a bunch of cans buried somewhere. I don't know how he's going to pay it off anytime soon. So, I think it's going to be a long road for Carton. I don't really have any more sympathy for him. But, again, I don't wish evil on him either, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who made some mistakes, you know. Hopefully he learns from them and grows from them. He didn't hurt me personally, but I know he hurt a lot of other people, you know, especially financially, and, you know, see what happens then. But, you know, to those people, they're the ones that he's, you know, have to buy his apology, have to buy he's changing his life speech, which they all say, but, you know, it's the proof is in the pudding. You got to see how he actually turns out.
Yep.
So, you know, you can't judge him now. You got to judge him 30 years from now, and we'll see how he lives the next 30 years of his life.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. All right, we got about a minute left, so that's going to do it for us tonight. Erich Chester, thank you so much for being here tonight. Hope you had a great honeymoon, man. So great to have you back here. Any final thoughts before you get out of here?
No, Fife's in the chat. Thanks for listening, bro. Talk soon, and, yeah. Good luck. I know you say you're starting, I think, work tomorrow, so good luck with that. Stay safe. Yeah, but other than that, I'm just I'm ready for some more baseball. There's hockey playoffs coming. We should start talking about that. Fife is always good for a conversation on some hockey. I can tell you that.
Well, I think that's what we'll go next week.
And NBA, yeah, and then we got some NBA playoffs coming up. Although I just think that's just Golden State versus whoever comes out of the East. And the Masters, you know. So, I mean, some good stuff coming.
Absolutely. All right, so that's going to do it for us, for Erich Chester. Thank you, Eric Fife, for being here. I am Mike Aglialoro. We will see y'all next week.